welcome back. Steve here. In our last video we painted a pear using the three primary colours of lemon yellow, cadmium red and ultramarine blue, and white of course, and we produced a pear which I hope that everybody has painted a few of these by now and got a little bit of a handle on it. So I thought we'd continue by painting an apple, which will be predominantly red. So let's get into it and paint an apple. So once again, we sort of don't want to be around this middle bit here, and what we want to have is the apple sitting again on the bottom here, and we'll finish it roughly around about here. So if you can imagine a box off centre, like so, then all we do is round these corners off, and we have a bit of an apple. So, and on the apple we also have a little crease, or where the stem comes out. We'll just draw that in, and then we'll have the stem coming down, disappearing into it. Like I said before, this is an art piece and a bit of a practice, so don't get too hung up on how it looks. And again, we're going to have the light coming across here. So I'm looking at that little apple I've got up on the wall there. Hopefully you can see it. And it has a little leaf coming here, and coming around. It's curled up a little bit. We want it to come down a bit, which is going to give us a shadow. So yeah, just to add that little bit more interest. Once again, to ground this, we're going to need a shadow. So I'm coming down a little bit, as you can see, and I am still using this watercolour pencil. So remember, we're going to have the darker side, lighter side. As the light comes through here, it passes on here, so this is light, this is dark. So, you know, not half and half, but you know, roughly to give it a little bit of interest. And the same again, we have the opposite effect, where if that is light, we'll have this bit here a bit darker, and this bit a bit lighter. Okay, so dark, light, and making sure you get this can dive down a little bit. Okay, right, the paints, like I said before, lemon yellow, cadmium red and ultramarine blue. So the first thing we want to map in the colours that we want to do. So we get our string going with a bit of yellow and a bit of blue. And here we go. So the lighter side's here, so on this up we want sort of a lighty red. We'll have a bit of this bluey green coming in here, because this is the brighter side of it. Okay. Oh, silly me, I haven't got any water. Just give me 2 seconds and I'll be back. Alright, let's try this again. Now that I have a bit of water, clean the brush out. And when I was talking before about having saturated colours, you don't want to have full blown to start out with, so which is saturated, and I said before, unsaturated is by adding its opposite or its complementary on the colour wheel. So with blue, it's complementary, it's green. If you add green into it, it'll knock it right back. And that is what we're after most of the time. We don't want to have full saturated colours, only if that is your intention. But in nature, generally not so. So just getting these shadow areas in there where it's dark. Of course, we're getting the dark by using red and ultramarine blue, which is a sort of bluey black. Whack the stem in. We'll deal with him a little bit later. Down into this, in the shadow on the apple. Now, in the last video, when we did the pear, I ended up only doing 2 layers on it. What I think I'll do is come back on another video and probably, or I shall do, is glaze over both this apple and the pear together, just to show you a bit more of my way of doing things. Having a little bit of shadow coming up. And the thing is, we're here to have a bit of fun with this. So don't think, oh my goodness, I've got to lay this stroke exactly down there. Put it in, see what it looks like. If it doesn't work, we can always take it out. Right. Now back to the green. I'll just, the same brush, I won't wash this out this time. I'm going to put our leaf in, which is now a very desaturated green because of all the blue that is in it, and we'll form that up a bit later. So we're just getting all those bits in, and once again we'll go for the same blue, white, touch of red, a bit more red, to get this purpley blue, which we're going to put in here, which of course I have kind of put it on the wrong side, haven't I? It's not a problem. So I'll add a bit of white into this. And the beauty of acrylics is if it is a bit of a faux pas, we can just paint over it because it dries so fast. So as we get a bit more experience, we'll be able to control the speed of the acrylic, and there's quite a few manufacturers now that make acrylics that are very slow drying. So you can get like golden open, which can last quite a long time, but I prefer to have that control myself. So I put a retarder in my mix. I haven't at the moment got it in with this because this is a very quick study and I need it to dry quickly so we can get on with it. So just go around the leaf here, mixing the dark. Not dark enough. So the blue and the red. And we're getting our dark. So when we add more colours to our palette, we will be being able to get a lot more different hues, which is more or less the amount of colours we can produce with our palette. And also it's starting to tack up a little bit. I don't know if you can notice it on here, it's grabbing the brush and pulling it a bit and the paint's not flowing as much, so I have my trusty spray. I haven't got just straight pure water in this bottle. I have put a tiny bit of the retarder in and mixed it in with it. So that it just slows it up just that fraction. Now, oops, a little bit too white. Knock it down, a bit of bluey red. A little bit more, it's just a little bit too light for my liking. Make the background interesting. Just because it's a background, it doesn't have to be one blob of colour. I mean, you could even run a little bit of just straight pure red in here. Because we're going to have it in the apple, it would be a good idea, well not a good idea, but just something different. Put a little bit of red in the background, you don't have to. Okay, that'll do for now. Now, get down onto the table, the bench or whatever we have there, dry your brush off, it's been washed out. Once again, a bit of white with a bit of the bluey red mix in. So this is as we say, the value. This is a much lighter value than that. So these exercises for these fruit are a good exercise in value. So we're moving up and down. Looks a bit more. Up and down the value range. Remember, make it interesting. flip and twist the brush. Remember the dark bit, the light bit. And what we'll probably do in the next video is we'll add all the warms and cools of each colour, and we will still continue with fruit, and we'll probably do a pear and some grapes, because the grapes are a great purple colour. And gives us a good variety of getting form on something. And then we'll also talk about how to set up and how our eyes read in the, what can you say, the Western culture. We read from left to right, so when we set up a still life, we set it up so that the light's shining through here, and we want people to look in there, so generally small objects here up to our larger objects to stop the eye from flying off your canvas. But we'll go into that with a bit more detail in future videos. Okay, keep the palette wet. The light is streaming across the pear because the shadow is coming down here. We want the light to come this way. So just make it a little bit interesting. Who knows what's on this table? It could be a fold-in, it could be a bit of fabric, it could be just the table itself. And we could even have, this could be, just to make it a little interesting, let's have a tiny bit of reflected light coming here, which is just that mixture of the red and the yellow, which is slightly green. I'm splashing my brush out. Bit more lighter colour here, a little bit here, across underneath there. Now, blue, red, get them dark back again. More blue for me, it's not dark enough. Give it a good mix. Put back this shadow. Remember, because this is round, then this needs to be a little round. Okay. We could have the stem here. Let's just put a little line in with a little bit of shadow there. And then we'll come back over that. So now let's get into the apple. You can make a little string, bit of white into your red, going down into a fully saturated red at the other end. So one end is this lighty pinky colour, the other end is this just a normal straight red. So this is a light red, we want to come around this side here. Come across the front of the apple here. Across the back. And around the shadow. We're going to need to fade those edges out a little bit, so you can just flick the corner of the brush here every now and again on there without losing the shadow. Alright, so now move up the string to a bit more saturated red, and we're going to come around this side. Over that green is a tiny bit. We can have a tiny bit of yellow at the top here. Sometimes an apple does. We'll probably be doing this a few times because we'll be going over that, around that side. Now there will be a tiny bit of light on that side. Oops. Right. It sort of looks like an apple, I hope. So let's get, now I want the saturated red. I want this area all around here to be as saturated as I can get it. A little bit in here. Follow the contour of the apple into that dark. Around here. Through the green. Okay, a tiny bit of blue straight over the top. Bit of a dark mixture that we had there. More following the contour of this apple, giving it a bit of form. So when I say form, we're going from it's light, and light's hitting here and turning around. So if we can imagine this here, this is the base, light's coming around here, gradually fading out, picking up our dark colour, coming into the apple here. Just keep on applying it. Now I want a little bit of orange colour, so red, yellow, and this is what's going to come in to the inside of our apple. Laying bits on. So the top of the apple, more of the orange, and down. saturated red. Little lines like apples have, and down. Going to our, our light red. Around the outside a little bit there, there. This is the lightest part here, the light's coming down. Anything here. So not letting, I should have let this dry and come back over, but just to get it happening. I'll keep on going, and you'll get the gist of what's happening. So the lighter parts, the darker parts, add a little bit more. Green. And just kept pushing the colours. More yellow. Maybe it's a little bit too much. Let's take that out. A bit more saturated red. So when I say saturated, it's the colour straight from the tube. Back into the dark. Remember, a little bit lighter in the centre of our shadow. More dark mix. Around the bottom. Right. So now, make sure that this is dark. We're going to put our stem in. So, redo it. We've got it already sitting there. Then the little bit that joins onto it. This is our leaf. Then we're going to have where it's going to curl the underside of that leaf. Put back our shadow. Tap, tap, tap with the finger, get those edges a little bit soft. Back into our green string, so we're going to the very top of the string, which is almost yellow, and we want to come and do the top edge here and come in side, a few little strokes coming down. leaving it streaky so it looks like there's veins in the leaf and it's curling over. Wash out again into our orange mix and go on the top of the blue or the shadow, which would be the leaf wanting to curl because it's been picked and it's a little dry. Come down to the tip. Touch on the other side. Like so. Now, there's the apple. Now I'll generally let that dry and I'd come in again and do the background again and give it, I don't know, another 3, 4, 5 coats till I get my desired finish. So hopefully that's been a quick and helpful little painting for you to do. Before I go, I just noticed there we haven't got any highlights on our stem. You can just put a couple of these in, like so. Come into orange and into the red a little bit more. Then we'll go on the other side. Oops, too much water on my brush. Take that off. Still not right. Giving the stem a little bit of brown, browny orange in the middle. Okay, so there we have it. And like I said, what I will do is I'll do another video where we will get the pear and the apple, and I'll go over it and show you how I can just keep on going and glazing over the top to get what I want. We'll get more here and finish this bit off. So thanks for watching and see you in the next one.